Wow, you were at the right place at the right time. Have you heard this comment before? I'm sure you probably have, and perhaps like me, it kind of gets under your skin a little bit because I feel like it downplays a lot of the effort that goes into not only getting to the right place at the right time, but then knowing what to do when you get there. There's obviously so much more in landscape photography and nature photography than just simply happening to be at a nice place and pushing a button. Now, it's obviously easier said than done, isn't it? So many times we can try and create a good image and it just doesn't come together for us. So in this video today, I want to show you how to be at the right place at the right time. I want to show you how to read the sky, and particularly looking at sunrises and sunsets, and how do we get that epic color? What are we looking for? So in this video, let me show you some forecasting tools. We're going to be looking at the satellite imagery, and then we're going to go on a little mission. We're going to be chasing that epic sunset, and it doesn't look good at the moment, but let's have a look at the forecasting tools and hopefully we can make something happen. Now, before we start to look at the specific forecasting tools, let's talk about color in a sunrise or sunset. What really gives us that beautiful color? Well, it's all about the sun, but there's another key factor. Most of you are probably aware. It's about the cloud and the type of cloud that we have. Now, as the sun gets lower, well, just in general, the sun's rays, let's pretend my watch here is the sun. My fingers are the sun's rays. So a midday light, the light is coming straight down, lots of contrast, shadows everywhere. As the sun gets lower, what does the rays do? The rays of light start to go higher, eventually off the landscape. And then now the sun's light rays are going up, and it's basically hitting anything high up, like a mountain peak, and then up into the sky. If we don't have any clouds in the sky, that's it. You're not really going to get any color or see much go on. If we have clouds up there though, now the sun's rays are going to be hitting those clouds, and that's where we can get some beautiful colors and natural contrasts going on. When we are going out to photograph a sunrise or sunset, typically that's one thing that we're going to be looking for. What's the cloud doing? What's the sky doing? If I see a crystal clear sky and I'm hoping to create an image for sunrise or sunset and I want some color, if the skies are clear, I'm probably not heading out anywhere. What I'm really looking for is clouds that are around, but the key factor, and you might have seen this in a previous video where we photographed a sunset, the key factor though is having a clearing on your horizon. So if it's sunrise, we want a clearing on the east, sunset, a clearing off to the west. What do I mean by clearing? Well, we don't want that cloud base extending so far out that now the sun never actually comes out of the cloud. We want to be able to look and see the horizon and see that the light won't be blocked. So as that sun gets lower, its rays are going to get through and light up the cloud. One of the best things you can do is just observe during the day if it's sunset and have a look what's going on. But what if it's maybe not looking ideal where you are, but perhaps at another location it's looking good? Or what if you're planning a shoot for the next day or things like that? Let's take a look. I like to use, there's obviously so many tools you can use. I like to use one called Windy. Now, Windy has all these different overlays. So this is just windy.com. They have an app that you can look at on the phone as well. With these overlays, you know, you can view so many things you'll see on here. Wind, waves, snow depth, blah, blah, blah. Clouds, that's what we're going to be looking at. And we can break the cloud up into low, medium, high. Now, for a sunset in particular, if we have low cloud, that can actually block your views, like mountain views. Also, that will catch that light sooner because the cloud is lower. So really, we're generally wanting medium to high cloud. Now, there's obviously variables, it depends on the location. But let's just have a look now. What I'm looking at for this afternoon, this is really interesting. Where I am here in Te Anau, where I live, it's raining right now. And as I look at the forecasting, look to the southwest. Yellow represents no cloud here and windy. The yellow is showing me that later on today, there could be a clearing down there. And one of the other features I really like to use in Windy is the satellite mode. Now, the satellite is not forecasting at all. It's literal satellite imagery being updated, put into a time lapse. This doesn't lie, and this is the best thing you can observe. And you can kind of track what's happening. So look at the cloud movement. Look at the way that's shifting in that southwest corner. You can see that there's a lot of cloud early on, and slowly the southwest of Fiordland down here is getting clearer as that cloud rolls on. I'm thinking if I start to head south, I might be able to time the sunset as that cloud is starting to open up. And remember that it's all about having sunlight hit that cloud. If we can have that cloud peel away in time and reveal the sun around that golden hour sunset, what's going to happen to that cloud? It's going to light right up. The key is getting to a good location, good subject matter first and foremost, and then hopefully being there before the cloud clears up too much. Or the other thing that can happen is it just doesn't quite lift in time and the sun is still blocked. There's a location here where I've thought about this image for some time now, a bit of a beach looking towards the peaks. I think we're going to have to go try that because this opening looks absolutely perfect. And even just a few days ago, a very similar pattern arrived and I managed to jump up in the air and capture this, which was honestly, I'm still lost for words to this day at how good these conditions were with the fresh snow and that epic sky. And all that came from similar type tools here, just looking at that radar, the satellite imagery, and then just saying, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So let's go for it now. Let's go for a drive and hopefully we can get in this clearing and make something special. All right, well, as you can see, it looks pretty miserable. It's raining. Toby doesn't look too impressed, but as we can see on the radar, we can get further south. There should be a huge clearing. We want to position ourselves in that right area, but we've got to have the subject matter. So I've got the location in mind. The only way to find out is to get out there and try. So let's go for a drive. We've got a good hour or so to get to the location. The ingredients is here, the anticipation's building, not far now. Look at that huge clearing and all that sky. It's ready to be painted by the sun. We've got about an hour for the actual sunset, 20 minutes to get to location. There we go guys, look at that. Now it doesn't look like much from here on the GoPro, but once we start zooming, we've got the peaks back there. And obviously that cloud is just in the most perfect spot and the sun should just set off into that clearing. It's gonna feel like an eternity now waiting for the sun to get lower. And there's a lot of surf too, so it's just perfect. The main subject matter really is gonna be the mountains in the back, combining that with the ocean. Toby, Toby. Come on. Good boy. Here he comes. Let's talk about the composition. I'm going to be using a long lens to make those mountains larger in the frame. They're basically the main subject, really. I'm really hoping to then get layers of waves. And in order to create depth, I want to still add something near to the viewer as well as what's off in the distance there. That's where I'm strategically going to try and align, hopefully, some of the shoreline here, the wet sand, because that's reflecting light. So multiple layers, that's how we create that three-dimensional feel in our images. Not just having something far off in the distance. You've heard me say it so many times in the videos, but having something near as well as something far. So in this case, it'll be the sand, close waves, distant waves, mountains, and then obviously the sky above it. Pretty exciting. I just wish we didn't have so long to wait. I don't like waiting. I like to just get in the moment when the light's good and just react. I'm always a bit pessimistic too, and I just think it's perfect now, but in half an hour maybe it starts to change and the show is over. So, but it's all looking pretty promising. There's definitely a little bit of atmospheric haze out there, which I don't mind, but it means we're going to lose a bit of definition in the mountains, but not a big deal. The light's really going to help draw the eye back to that area. Seascape and mountains, my two favourite things to photograph. Every now and then you could get a calm day down here and the shot just wouldn't work, so I'm so thankful that we've got these beautiful swell, multiple layers of wave action. I've gotten away from the waves about 2 kilometres down the beach, just driven along, and look at this foreground. We've got the creek flowing out and creating all the beautiful lines. It's going to be reflections. There's even rocks out here, and then we've got the ranges in the back. Decisions.
probably a bit more drawn to the wave action, but I'm thinking maybe once I feel like I've got that image, if we quickly boot it down here and get that real last light, because that high cloud, when it catches color, it can catch that color for an hour, you know, long after the sun has set. I'm going to keep this in mind, because this could just be a really beautiful image later on when that light is just burning up. I can see the sand has so many patterns out there, so there's still potential for waves actually from this perspective too. It's just I'm looking front on the way the waves break here. One positive of getting to an area, you know, early is you now have that option to explore, and I just don't like overthinking, and that can happen when you have too much time, but this is good to have options. I think it's time to make a coffee, and man, I'm just excited. There's always this energy when you know good light is coming, even when we had the aurora recently and we're waiting for it to get dark, and when you can see a big sunset happening like this when it's on the way, there's that excitement, and there's almost a little bit of anxiousness. When I'm running a workshop, I can almost pick up on it. I know people's hearts are probably racing because everyone's anticipating that magic moment, so let's see what it does. You can see the light is hitting that sea mist below the peaks out there. There might be a good image already. Soon there will be too much light as it dips below that cloud, but there's a good image right now. Let's see what we can do with the long lens. Got that nice slicked water in front of us, and the golden light just hitting that sea spray. Lots of birds flying around. This is already looking insane, guys. Probably going to get too much light shortly, but man, it's just lighting that mist up in the back. We're getting some definition in the mountains now, some separation. Just trying to find the right bit of foreground. The rocks here, the water. I think I'll come back a little bit. When you're using the long lens to compress the scene, the key is to walk further away. That's going to allow you to fit more into the frame. Come back here and pick up the flow of the creek and the sand. Just notice these are nice colours here. There'll be some natural oils coming out of the woods on the side, decomposing branches. You get this nice iridescent sheen. I've seen this type of stuff before, but beautiful light on there at the moment. Look at that. Nice intimate image. A bit of fun shooting that while I just wait for the sunset to approach. Well, while I'm waiting for that sunset, the mountains are actually gone because of the light, so hazy, but look at this. This is unreal. As far as like an intimate scene goes, there is the most beautiful light on these rocks and that iridescent sheen coming out of the decomposing natural timbers here. Absolutely loving this. What a nice little bonus. Just have to watch where I stand so I don't ruin any comps. Look at that, guys. That is unreal. The light contrast there is just amazing. This is why we do it, eh? The moments you just can't plan for. Probably not translating well on the GoPro, but that is just so nice. You're here waiting for this epic, big, grand sunset, and then just the beautiful, subtle details of nature. Absolutely stoked. Well, I've been pretty distracted with these intimate scenes. I mentioned I love pressure. Well, pressure's on because now that light is getting good, and I haven't even got ready for that mountain shot, so I better wrap up on these little details here and get serious about this sunset. Look at that. My goodness. It looks like we're staying here for now, guys, and we'll try to get those waves later. I'm going to go with a slightly wider perspective at the moment. I don't want to rush back and forward. We're here now. It's tricky. There's birds in the back. You need a bit of a fast shutter for that. Bit of a balancing act. Let's get a bit closer, pick up this water texture. Woo! Oh, man. Ah, look at that. I'm not too concerned about getting the mountains huge in the frame. Why don't we save that for the beach? I'm at f16. Is that going to give me the depth? Looks like it is, so that's handy. Single exposure. Nice and easy. Lost for words. Lost for words.
And it wasn't even a surprise, but it still takes your breath away. Mixing up the comp, going vertical, going horizontal, doing a bit of stacking now because I've decided to incorporate this stone in the foreground.
Sitting around 35 to 50 mil back and forward. I think it's time to almost hit the other location. All right, let's quickly get around to the beach and try and get the telephoto shot too before the light's all gone. Come on. Oh, look at that. Don't ruin it. You. Now it's going off. Look at that sky. Symmetry. Big curve of the cloud. Let's get a big curve of the foreshore. Got the 28 to 75 on still. Probably have to change to the long lens eventually, but oh man. That is gorgeous. I think this is the right lens after all. One-tenth of a second, 50 mil. Getting the shore replicating what the sky's doing. What do you reckon, mate? Pretty cool? Ah, this is why we do it. Oh, what a save! I knew it was going to happen. Been thinking about this image here for a couple of years. I drive past this area quite often, and man, what a beautiful combination of mountains and sea, and a sky like that just sets it off. And even our first location, those intimate details, and then the perspective from there looking towards the peaks is so different to what we get here. So there might be potentially two to keep. Not really worried about that. You can see the importance of watching the sky, watching the forecast especially, and in particular when you have rain. If it's raining in the morning, raining in the evening, just start to look. Are there openings out there? It might not be where you are, but maybe it's half an hour away, maybe it's an hour away. Get to that opening. You can see what can happen. It doesn't always pay off, but every now and then it does. And that's what photography is really, is pursuing those moments and getting yourself in front of something like this. And hey, if it doesn't work out, you saw in a recent video, it certainly doesn't always work out. Typically you have fun anyway, don't we? Getting outside. Just pretty humbled by that. Had a couple of these sunsets recently, so it's, yeah, humbling is, I don't have the words really. Sometimes it's just the culmination of everything and like I said, when it's a spot or a location maybe you've thought about over and over and you've seen the potential, but you just needed that right light, the right conditions, the waves, or whatever it is. So when it does happen, it's pretty special. Hey guys, you might have noticed in this particular video that I didn't really show the final still shots that I kept and the final edits. There's a few reasons for that. First and foremost, you know, when I go out and photograph. I like to, when I get home, I don't really want to look at the raw files straight away. I like to just enjoy the memory of the moment, and it means when I do look at the raws, I can be a little bit more objective about which is the one that I'm going to work on and keep. And then when I start the processing, it's something that I like to take my time with, and I get a better result when I'm not obviously trying to turn it over pretty quick. I'm happy to go out and make videos, but I just don't want to rush the still photography. Also, I'm working on a separate project. I can't mention too much about it, but I do want to keep a lot of new work for the next while just kept under wraps and not release stuff too soon. So that's just another thing which I'll talk about later on. And I encourage for you guys to try it too. Look, if you go out shooting, don't feel pressure from social media or even friends and family. Where's your photos? Just enjoy it. Keep it for you. Take your time. Hopefully you still got the lesson out of this video anyway. I try to show you a glimpse on the back of the camera, so at least you can envision what I'm actually doing out there. And I hope that suffices. But again, if I'm going to keep the channel running, and I do try and get a video up every week or every second week, it's a pretty high output, then this is probably the most sustainable way for me to do that. And keep in mind, YouTube, this is not my job. My job is out teaching, running workshops, which I'm about to leave in a couple of days to be out for 7 days running another workshop. And I just got back from one about a week and a half ago. So fitting in YouTube is quite difficult. So yeah, hopefully that works for you guys. I appreciate the support, your comments, thumbs ups when you share the video. It just helps it be a little bit more sustainable, because as you can imagine, it's a lot of time just even making one like this, filming, editing, etc. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in another video soon. Cheers.